The silent fear. The Helios Prime orbital station was never truly silent, yet today, an unusual hush had settled over the Grand Council chamber. Representatives from 32 worlds sat in a crescent of gleaming alloy seats, their bioluminescent robes and carapaces glimmering in the soft glow of the chamber lights. Normally, these sessions were a cacophony of trade disputes, military bragging, or diplomatic pageantry. But not today. Today's agenda was a single item: Earth. High Chancellor Verith of the Quarren clicked his mandibles nervously and brought up a holoscreen in the center of the chamber. "Counselors," he rasped, "we must speak of the Terrans and their creatures." The holoscreen shifted to a series of shaky orbital feeds collected from unmanned probes. The first showed a vast golden plain, where a pride of lions stalked their prey, terrifyingly silent until the final explosive strike. The next displayed a grizzly bear, towering like a living tank, casually tearing apart a fallen tree in search of food. Another clip showed a great white shark breaching the waves, its jaws snapping down with a force that shattered its unlucky prey. A shudder rippled through the chamber. The Rethari delegate, a thin amphibious being, croaked hoarsely. "You expect us to believe these Terrans live on the same planet as these apex horrors?" "It is fact," Verith said gravely. "Their world teems with killers. Predators so perfected they make our battle drones seem juvenile." The Koran Warmaster slammed a clawed fist on the table. "Then humanity must be the most dangerous species alive. To survive among such monsters, to dominate them, if they unleash these creatures on the stars, none of us are safe." There was a long, fearful silence. The Galactic Alliance had encountered aggressive species before, had fought wars with ruthless empires. But this was different. The humans hadn't even joined the stars yet, and already their reputation preceded them. Not because of fleets or superweapons, but because of their planet. Because of the predators that shared their home. "They don't just survive," said a smaller, uncertain voice, Envoy Theral of the Lumi. "Some intercepted cultural transmissions suggest they keep these creatures as companions." The chamber erupted in horrified chatter. "Impossible. Madness. Surely a mistranslation." Verith raised a claw for silence. "We shall know soon enough. The first human diplomatic ship arrives within a cycle." The human vessel Odyssey docked quietly at Helios Prime. It wasn't a warship. It wasn't even heavily armored. It was an unassuming craft, painted white and blue, its hull battered from long travel. Out stepped 3 humans, 2 diplomats in simple formal wear, and one wearing a curious soft cap emblazoned with an image of an animal. The gathered council expected towering warriors, scars, and visible weaponry. Instead, they were met with relaxed, smiling beings that looked almost fragile compared to the armored lizards, chitin-plated arthropods, and gas-breathing giants around them. No claws, no fangs, no obvious defenses. Just calm eyes and polite words. "Greetings," said the lead human, Ambassador Riley. "We thank you for welcoming us." The council murmured among themselves. These are the apex survivors? They wondered. How do such soft, weaponless creatures dominate a planet of killers? But the unease didn't fade. If anything, it deepened. Because there was something wrong about the humans' ease, their unhurried gestures, their lack of apparent fear. It was as if they were carrying a secret no one else understood, a quiet, confident knowledge that made every alien in that room nervous. At the end of the session, as the humans departed, Chancellor Verith clicked his mandibles in private thought. His multifaceted eyes lingered on the cap the younger human wore. A strange embroidered creature, a small, furred predator with slitted eyes and pointed teeth, stared back from the fabric. A name came to him, pulled from the intercepted Earth data files. A word repeated often but poorly translated. Cats. And for the first time, Verith wondered if the creatures they had seen were only the beginning. The cats arrive. The day began like any other aboard Helios Prime, but by mid-cycle, the station's automated security grid had triggered over 50 low-level alerts, all centered on Docking Bay 12. Ambassador Riley had returned from Odyssey, this time accompanied by a small rolling carrier and a second human clutching a strange, softly purring bundle. The counselors gathered in confusion, certain that this must be a show of human weaponry. Perhaps a miniature war beast? Some engineered nightmare capable of subduing a world? They weren't entirely wrong. "This," Riley announced to the assembled delegates, opening the carrier door, "is Mr. Whiskers. He's a cat." A collective shudder ran through the alien spectators as a small, furred creature padded out on silent paws. Its golden eyes gleamed like molten metal, its tail flicked like a striking serpent, and its claws glinted with faint menace. The creature surveyed the towering aliens with supreme disinterest, as though it owned the station. "It's small," muttered War Master Koroth, baffled. Riley's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Size has never defined danger." The counselors leaned closer, studying the cat as though it might explode at any moment. The creature stretched, yawned wide enough to reveal razor teeth, then casually turned its back on the entire Galactic Alliance and began licking a paw. "That," whispered the Lumi envoy, "is a creature?" "Not quite," Riley replied. "Cats are companions. We don't command them, exactly. We coexist. They are apex predators, domesticated just enough to tolerate our homes." The aliens stared in disbelief. To invite a hunter into one's living space? To sleep knowing such a thing might stalk you in the night? It defied every instinct for self-preservation. Suddenly, Mr. Whiskers leapt from the deck to a floating console in one fluid motion. Security drones whirred anxiously but didn't fire. Even machines hesitated, as though sensing a superior predator. The cat's tail lashed once, twice, then he locked eyes with Koroth, the feared War Master of Koran. The moment stretched. The War Master, who had faced battleships and war beasts larger than shuttles, found himself unable to break eye contact with the small Terran creature. A strange pressure filled the air, an unspoken challenge. Then, just as suddenly, the cat blinked, turned away, and curled up atop the console as if bored. Karotha's claws retracted. "It judged me," he muttered hoarsely, "and dismissed me." The room erupted in hushed speculation. If this was the smaller predator humanity kept as a mere house companion, what were the true terrors of Earth like? Ambassador Riley let the tension hang, then added softly, "Humans don't conquer our planet's predators. We earn their trust, live beside them, learn from them. To us, fear is just another challenge to overcome." As if on cue, another carrier opened. This time, two cats emerged, one sleek and black, eyes glowing like twin stars, the other striped like a miniature tiger. They prowled the chamber with quiet confidence, sniffing at alien robes, brushing tails against armored boots, utterly ignoring boundaries or diplomacy. The Lumi envoy stiffened when the black cat leapt onto their floating chair, settled in their lap, and began purring, a deep, rumbling sound that vibrated through the thin, amphibious body of the alien. "It's communicating," the envoy whispered, awestruck. Riley chuckled. "That's how they choose you. If a cat sits with you, you're under their protection. It's a great honor." The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. If humans had truly allied with predators this cunning and fearless, what other terrifying partnerships might they have formed on Earth? And somewhere deep in the chamber, Chancellor Verith thought grimly to himself, if this is their companion animal, perhaps the galaxy has underestimated Terrans entirely. Tales of diplomacy. Life aboard Helios Prime changed drastically in the days following the cat's arrival. The station had weathered visits from warlords, imperial governors, and wandering marauders, but none had altered its atmosphere as profoundly as three small Terran animals. The cats roamed freely, ignoring station protocols, locked doors, and the hierarchy of the Galactic Council. No corridor was off-limits. No ambassador was above scrutiny. They patrolled as if Helios Prime were theirs to command. To the aliens, this was unthinkable. Predators weren't allowed to wander among prey. And yet the humans allowed it, and the creatures tolerated no restrictions. On the fourth day, the station's serenity shattered. A maintenance drone malfunctioned near the council chamber. Its guidance system glitched, turning it from harmless janitor to uncontrolled hazard, sparks flying from its appendages as it spun wildly through the corridor. The alarms blared, and security units deployed. The Koran War Master leapt forward, claws ready. "Stand back. It is rogue tech. I will destroy it." Before anyone could react, a striped blur darted from the shadows. One of the human cats, Tiger, bounded toward the drone, muscles coiled with perfect precision. It didn't hesitate, didn't calculate risk, it simply acted. In 3 swift movements, the cat vaulted onto a wall panel, launched itself at the drone, and slammed a paw onto its exposed control conduit. The drone shrieked and spun, throwing sparks as Tiger's claws ripped at its wiring. With a final hiss, the drone powered down, clattering to the deck in defeat. The chamber froze. Dozens of alien eyes, stalks, and sensors locked on the tiny predator standing over the fallen machine. Tiger arched its back, tail lashing once, as though daring any other threats to step forward. Then, with casual grace, it sat down and began grooming its paw as if nothing had happened. Ambassador Riley arrived moments later, unfazed. "Ah, I see Tiger handled the issue. Good boy." The War Master was pale, trembling. This creature attacked a hostile drone barehanded. No armor, no fear. His gaze swept to Riley. "And you keep these hunters as pets?" Riley's tone remained calm, but a subtle edge underlined his words. "We don't keep them. We live with them. Cats don't obey, they choose." He nodded toward Tiger. "They choose us because they recognize our strength. Not the kind you see in claws or teeth. The kind that walks among predators and makes them friends." A ripple of unease passed through the crowd. Alien civilizations had domesticated animals, yes, but only by breaking their wills, reshaping instincts. Yet these Terran predators were not broken. They were wild, calculating, unpredictable, and they voluntarily shared space with humans. Word of the drone incident spread like wildfire through Helios Prime. Delegates whispered about humanity's terrifying partnership with apex predators. If a small Terran beast could disable machinery with such ease, what could humanity's larger creatures do? The earlier orbital footage of lions, bears, and sharks now took on an even more frightening weight. These were not terrors that hunted humans, they were creatures humans had learned to live beside. That night, the Lumi envoy stood outside Riley's quarters. "Ambassador," they said nervously, "our people once believed Terrans survived their planet through violence. But now I understand. You survived through respect. You earned the loyalty of killers." Riley simply smiled, scratching Mr. Whiskers behind the ears. The cat's purr rumbled softly, a sound at once soothing and threatening, like distant thunder. "Maybe," the ambassador said, "that's what makes humans special. We don't just fight monsters. We learn to love them, and somehow, they love us back." In the corridor beyond, alien delegates watched silently as Tiger patrolled the station with deliberate steps, a tiny warden who feared nothing in the galaxy. For the first time, Helios Prime wondered if the true apex predator of Earth wasn't humanity at all, but the small, inscrutable allies humans carried wherever they went. Legends of the tiny apex. By the end of the Terran's second week aboard Helios Prime, every corridor hummed with rumors. Delegates whispered tales of feline feats, how a single cat had stared down the fearsome Quran Warmaster, how another had slain a rogue drone with precision strikes, how one emissary swore a cat could disappear and reappear across the station at will. But more unsettling than the stories was the feeling the cats left in their wake. Wherever they walked, even the fiercest aliens stepped aside. Not out of hostility, but reverence, like they were making room for a force of nature too ancient to defy. The Galactic Council, long hesitant about humanity's entry into the Alliance, convened one final meeting. This time, the chamber was different. Alongside the human ambassadors sat three cats, sprawled comfortably as though they owned the chamber. Mr. Whiskers perched on the central dais where no being but the High Chancellor was permitted to sit. Nobody dared move him. Chancellor Verith opened the session, mandibles clicking nervously. "Terrans," he began, his voice low, "the Council recognizes your right to propose entry to the Galactic Accord. Yet before we decide, we must ask, what else does your planet hold? If these cats are your companions, what terrors remain on Earth?" Ambassador Riley rose slowly, hands clasped behind his back. "Earth is full of predators," he admitted. "Some larger than you've ever seen. Some with speed and cunning you cannot imagine." A tense silence fell. Even the air recyclers seemed to hush. Riley smiled faintly. "But the galaxy misunderstands what makes humans dangerous. It's not our weapons. Not our numbers. It's this," he gestured toward Mr. Whiskers, who was now rolling lazily on his back in the Chancellor's spot, "our ability to befriend what others fear. To look at claws and teeth, at danger itself, and say, we can live with this." The black cat leapt silently from the table and landed on Chancellor Veritha's lap. Every alien in the chamber stiffened, waiting for the strike. But no attack came. The cat settled, purred, and closed its eyes. Veritha's voice was unsteady when he finally spoke. "It accepts me." Riley nodded. "It's not acceptance, Chancellor. It's trust. Something no treaty can force, no weapon can buy. Trust is what makes humanity thrive, even among monsters." The words settled over the council like a weight. For all their fleets and technology, few civilizations had dared coexist with predators without domination or fear. Yet these small Terran creatures walked among humans freely, feared nothing, and even shared their homes. The implications for humanity's adaptability and potential power were staggering. The vote was nearly unanimous. Humanity was welcomed into the Galactic Accord, not as a junior species but as an honored and mysterious ally, one the galaxy approached with awe and caution. The ceremony was brief but unforgettable. As treaties were signed, Tiger leapt onto the primary datapad and pressed a paw to the signature field, leaving a faint print. The Council's archivists hesitated before accepting it, but no one dared challenge the gesture. The legend had already begun to write itself. When humanity came to the stars, they brought not soldiers, nor beasts of war, but the fiercest hunters of their home, small predators who bowed to no one, yet walked beside Terrans as equals. If the little ones are this mighty, what must the great creatures be? That night, as the council dispersed, Verith watched a cat stroll down the corridor, tail held high like a banner of conquest. A human diplomat followed a few steps behind, smiling quietly. The Chancellor felt a chill that had nothing to do with fear. It was respect, raw and undeniable. Perhaps humanity had not conquered Earth's monsters at all. Perhaps they had become something far rarer, a species that could stand among predators and inspire loyalty instead of war. And somewhere in the distance, Riley chuckled to another ambassador. "You've met cats now. Wait until the galaxy learns about raccoons."